Hello, this is George Demaree. Again, with another episode of Your Money Matters. You know, I truly enjoy talking about how to help you with your money. We've said just so many times that so many people don't really understand what it's like to make great financial decisions as it relates to their income. We at St. Stephen Baptist Church, we think it's really very important that all of our members have some financial literacy to understand how to handle their money. We want to champion creative thinking, critical thinking when it comes to handling your money, how you can make great decisions when you have some money, to put you in a position to be able to handle those times when those emergencies, when things happen, because trust me, things will happen, whether it be to your car, your AC system, or your refrigerator, who knows. But there will be something that happens where you will need cash. And also, just as important, that when you get to be in retirement age, that you can retire with some financial independence. Wouldn't it be great if you had no bills, or the only bill that you had was your mortgage payment? I'm telling you, you can get it done by some of the principles that we talk about in Your Money Matters. We want to help you with your credit. We're going to give you techniques. Over the next number of weeks, we'll give you techniques on how to improve that credit number. Remember, the number that we've talked about for weeks is 700. And you have a credit number over 700, there's very few things you can't purchase. Remember, when purchasing a house, it also depends on your debt to income ratio as well. We'll spend some time on that too. And finally, and I don't think anything is more important than this category, and that's getting out of debt and having some discipline, not to use credit cards, but if you do, to be in a position that you can pay them off in 30 days so you need not pay interest on credit cards. But today, tell you what we're going to spend some time on. We're going to spend a little time on, how do you get started? Some of the frequently asked questions as it relates to handling your money. Well, here we go. The first thing that you need to do, if you're really serious about financial literacy and financial independence, the first thing you need to do is change how you think. What is it that you really want? What's the plan? How can you put your family and your children, your spouse as a team in a great position where you can take care of bills when it happens? Learn to think, again, critically about your money. Think critically. Understand where your money's going. I've challenged people, and I still challenge you today, that take a month's expenses, and every dime that you spend, put it on paper, and you'll be surprised at where you spend money and where you can save money, and maybe put some of that money away for that rainy day emergency fund, or put that in an account that can help you in investing long term. Create a plan. You can't get anywhere without a plan. And let me tell you, I really like Dave Ramsey's information. The great majority of the stuff that he uses, I completely agree with. So let me spend some time. I'm going to spend some time right now to talk a little bit about Dave Ramsey's baby steps. I can't think of a better plan that can help to get you into financial independence and put you in a position where you're not surviving, you're thriving. Baby step number one, save $1,000. No matter what, put $1,000 away. Remember, that $1,000 is for a rainy day. You're gonna need to buy a tire, something else can happen to your car. It's so many things that can happen that you haven't planned for. But wouldn't it be great if you had $1,000 sitting in the bank that if something happens, you could take care of that? Baby step number 2, and then this is a big one, getting out of debt. Getting out of debt takes discipline. And I read a quote a long time ago from Nick Saban. He says, either suffer the pain of discipline or you will suffer the pain of disappointment. You have got to be disciplined if you want to get out of debt. Well, what does that mean? First of all, you can't spend more than you earn. That's how people get in debt in the first place. Secondly, come up with a plan. We've talked about this over and over again. Let me tell you an amazing thing. If you go online and you talk to any financial advisor on any of this information, and they all say the same thing. Every one of them say the same thing. They may say it in different ways, but they say the same thing. Get out of debt. Tackle that piece of that credit card that has the lowest balance. Knock it out. Give yourself a sense of accomplishment. Take that money that you saved, that you have because you're not paying that debt, and put it toward the next debt. Wouldn't it be great? We talked about this a few minutes ago, to not be in any debt at all, not to have any credit card debt, not to have any phone calls, knowing that you're debt free. That's a happy day. Baby step number 3. Save a minimum of 3 to 6 months in expenses. That's, again, putting you in a position that great example, when the pandemic happened, yes, it hurt millions of people physically in the country and around the world. But another way that it really hurt many of our citizens is that because they didn't have any money saved, and now because of the pandemic, they couldn't go to work, it put them in financial crisis. Don't allow that to happen to you again. Look for ways that you can save a minimum of 3 months of expenses. Put that money away. You've got to save. There's basically 3 money principles. There's either spending, saving, or sharing. But you have got to save money. Baby step number 4 has to do with saving as well. When you can, make it where you can save up to 15% of your income and put it in use some kind of investment strategy. I happen to like Roths. Now, there's only a limited amount of money that you can put in Roths. But the reason that I happen to like Roths is because Roths are post-tax funds. So you pay the taxes going into Roth, and then the money that grows inside of Roths, most of that money, if not all of that, grows tax-free. So that's why the federal government only lets you do so much. I think under a certain age, you can only do $6,000 a year, and I think after maybe 59, you can do as much as $7,000 a year. But sometimes, depending on, you need to talk to your financial advisor. There are occasions where you can put more money in a Roth based on what you already have saved. But I love putting money in a Roth. Try your best to put yourself in a position where you can save 15% of your income. Baby step number 5, save a little for your children's college fund. I guess you're looking at me and saying, well, George, that's my entire check, all right? But save a little bit in each one of those pots. Again, to put you in a position to find financial independence. Baby step number 6 is, when you can, work on paying off that mortgage. And then finally, finally, and this is just as important as anything else, be generous. Be willing to give. Be willing to give to your church. Be willing to give to those people who are not nearly as fortunate. But be a very cheerful giver. Now, again, let's come up with ideas of how to pay off debt, right? First of all, as I said earlier, change your priorities. It takes work, again, and it takes a lot of discipline for you to say, I am not going to buy that today. I'm going to put this on this debt that I owe because it is more important for me to be out of debt than it is to buy something that's going to go down in value the minute that you buy it. Most everything that you buy is a depreciating asset. Most everything. We talked about cars. Who doesn't love them? But a big depreciating asset. Create a written budget. Everybody talks about budgets. There's not a company, I don't care what the company is, that does not create a line item budget. A line item budget lets you know where your money is going. And then again, have the discipline to stay with that budget. 50% of your money goes to what we call those four walls. Those four walls is what Dave Ramsey called the four walls. Is your utilities, your shelter, your transportation, and food. 20% of your money going to extras that you want, things that you want to do to have fun. 20% of that money going to work on paying off debt and starting to save some of that money. And 10% of your money going to your church. Look for ways to come up with a budget and live by the budget. Living by budgets is really difficult. I don't care who it is, but I'm going to tell you again, there is not a company that's successful that doesn't have a line item budget. You can do it as well. Use payoff calculators. How long would it take you to pay off a piece of debt if you paid minimum payment as compared to paying another 25 to 50 bucks a pay period? You'll find that not only will you pay it off quicker, it reduces the cost. When you buy things on credit, the first thing that you purchase is the money to buy the item. The average credit card rate, because of high interest rates today, is 20%. That is really high. And when you have those revolving credits and how credit is computed on credit cards, I'm telling you, you have got to spend more than the minimum payments in order to pay off any debt. We talked about paying off debts with the smallest balance until you get it done. It usually takes, for the average person, depending on how much debt you have, it takes between 18 months and 3 years to pay it off, if you have the discipline to do it. Don't create new debt. Try your best not to create new debt. Ask for qualified help. If you can't do it on your own, look for help. But make sure you look for help from someone who's qualified to really help you. I'm giving you enough information for you to go out and look for it. Most of the information that I use and I get on Your Money Matters, guess what? You can also find it too. There's so much information online about money, about how to get out of debt, how to improve your credit rating. I'm telling you, you can get out of debt and you can improve your credit rating just by certain techniques in getting that done. Another thing is very important. Foster great relationships. If you look around the room and you got 5 friends and you're the smartest person in the room, you need a new friend. You really do. Foster great relationships. Statistically, of those 5 people that you spend the most time with, you will make within 15% the average salary of those 5 people. Think about what I just said. Are you running with people who can help you? Everybody doesn't have to be good at everything, but if you got friends, have friends you can have good debates with. Have friends who have good ideas. Have friends who can help you with your money. Have friends who make good buying decisions. I've told my children many times, you're only as good as the company that you keep. Look around the room. Who can help you? It's important. Another question. We're in tax season, and people will be getting tax refunds pretty quickly, pretty soon. All right? So what are some of the things, what's the smart thing you can do with tax season? Let me tell you what you don't do. You don't let these companies, these marketing companies, even, I'm going to say this, some auto dealers that will force you to take your tax deduction and use it to get into more debt. Use your tax deduction, number one, to pay debt off. Pay it off, and then you can start paying things for cash. Use it to support your emergency fund. Remember, save it for a rainy day. Invest, we talked about this a minute ago. Invest, and again, I love investing in a Roth. Mutual funds work, ETFs work. Mutual funds can be a wee bit expensive. But let me tell you something else that, if I can continue to quote Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey says that the average car payment today, the average car payment is $499, $500 a month. If you took $500 a month from age 30 to age 70 and you saved it every month and you put it in a high yield mutual fund, that would net you over $5 million by the time you get to age 70. Now, that $500 that's going to that auto manufacturer, he's making a lot of money. And let me tell you this, guys. I like nice cars too. I've had them all my life. But make sure that you do it in a very smart and intelligent way. Don't spend your money on depreciating assets, and be generous. It's important that you be generous. And we talked about this at church just Sunday, on not just being a giver, but being a cheerful giver. Giving makes you feel good. When you know that you're helping somebody else, doesn't it make you feel good? That when you're in a position that you can help another person, we have a very, very generous membership at St. Stephen Baptist Church, which we all appreciate. But again, be happy with it when you give, because you're giving to a higher power, and you're helping someone else when you do that. It helps our programs here. Here's some additional tax information. Just some things that I think is very important for you to know as it relates to your taxes. This year, the tax deadline is April the 18th. But just because the tax deadline is April the 18th doesn't mean that you wait to file to the last minute. You start to file your taxes the minute that you get all your tax information. Get it in quick. If you have filed for an extension, I think that's in October, maybe October 15th, if you file an extension. The standard deduction increased this year to $12,950 for singles and $25,900 for married couples. That's if you don't itemize your deductions. You can do one or the other. I was just thinking about my own taxes. I mean, do you have enough deductions to itemize that exceed right at $26,000? Well, if you don't, then I suggest you just use the standardized deductions. Don't spend as much money on getting your tax returns done and just live with that. And the reason that it went up, remember those itemized deductions are always adjusted for inflation. You know, some of the good things about inflation is that if, yes, it costs you more money when you borrow money, but you make more money if you save money. Now you can make as much as 4.5% in a savings account. Wow, that's secure. You can't lose your money. So there are benefits that happen when interest rates go up if you put yourself in a position to be able to take advantage of those situations. Again, that standard deduction. Again, what is the standard deduction? The IRS allows you to deduct from your taxable income, again, based on inflation. So it's, for an example, you make X amount of money, taxable income, you get to deduct that off because everybody, depending on the amount of money you make, are in a tax bracket. That standard deduction may take you below in the tax bracket and can save you as much as 6, 7, 8% on your federal income taxes, which will help your return. Remember this too. Your refund may be a little less this year than it's been in previous years. Well, why is that? Because most all of the government subsidies, all the government benefits because of COVID, they expired. So over the last couple of years, if you got a little extra because of that, those expired in 2022. Smaller deductions are on the way. This bit of information is very important as well. Do not take advance loans. Do not allow these companies, these tax preparation companies, to say you can get your money now. You pay big interest rates on money that's your money. Now listen to this about your tax deduction. Your tax deduction, your tax refund, is not a gift from the government by any stretch of the imagination. Your tax refund is because you overpaid in taxes for the year based on your income and your deductions. And what you overpaid, they pay you at the end of the year. But let me tell you something about that money. They held your money and they didn't pay any interest on it at all. So why would you allow someone, the federal government, to hold your money for almost a year, and then when it's time for you to collect, you allow another company to benefit on that, on interest on your money? Don't do that. All right. So, moving on. The final thing I'm going to share with us today, again, is I like to always spend a little time on retirement. So we talked about frequently asked questions. We talked a little bit about taxes and how they work. It's amazing what you can find if you just look for it. Things like, the standard deductions and why you get a standard deduction, how you can make money, how you can make great decisions as it relates to your money. But I'm going to give you a few tips. This is from Chris Hogan. Just retirement tips by age demographic. In your 20s, dream big. Remember, money grows exponentially, compound interest. Surround yourself with smart people. Find good mentors. Ask questions. Be a sponge. Have an insatiable appetite for information. Read. Don't let someone tell you something you can find out on your own. I try my best to read. Look for ways of making yourself better every day. In your 30s, do some of the same things. Stay away from stupid. work towards saving 15% of your gross income. It will, when you're in your 30s, and I have literally forced my children to do this. When you're in your 30s, save minimum 10% of your income, no matter what. I said, and again, I have told them to put as much of that in a Roth as they can. Now, my youngest children are 32. When you put your money in a 401k, you cannot take it out of that 401k without a penalty until age 59 and a half. So for them, that's 27 years from now. The likelihood of me being here is slim. But when they can get their money at 59, they will be glad that their father told them how to handle their money. Find someone who can help to give you good advice. A lot of the things that I have learned on handling money, I learned by accident. I made so many mistakes that if I was half this smart when I was in, or if I had me to help me in my 30s, I'd have a whole bunch more money today. In your 40s, make investment a priority. Keep increasing contributions. Stay away from, make sure that you start giving your church at least 10% of your income. In your 50s, if you hadn't started saving, you better start saving. Get mad, get it done. Keep your guard up, give back. And if you're in your 60s, it is never too late. The life expectancy of adults now is getting longer and longer. You need to plan. How's it going to do when you transition to retirement? And remember, you cannot live on Social Security alone. Let me tell you something about Social Security before I close. I suggest if you're still working, wait till you get to full retirement age. If you're not working and you can get it at 62, go ahead and get it at 62. Well, we'll spend some more time on Social Security on another day. So thank you very much. I hope this has been informative. I try to give you information that you can live on, that can help. What I really hope is it sparks questions that maybe you can ask me or ask a financial advisor to help you. But always remember this: stay out of debt, save, save, save. And at Money Matters and at St. Stephen Baptist Church, God loves you, and so do we. Have a great day.